famous rabbis of yesteryear. We happen to be on Tet Zayin Tishrei, the 16th of Tishrei. Naturally, it's a second day of the festival of Sukkot. Mark, I think it was 1930, about 1945 or something like that. I'll have to double check. At the end, he came from great rabbinic auspices. His mother's name was Rabbinit Rachel, and his father's name was Rav Masud. So he was born in the year 1844. I think it was in a village called Ayat. Amalat. This was more in let's say from Morocco, respectively, over there, southern part of Morocco over there. Now, when he was young, he would learn Torah under auspices of the Yishuv of Avlad Mensur in that specific place in itself. And I think there was a great amount of Torah, yeshiva community over there, respectively. He would grow up. At that point in time, there was a lot of poverty in that specific area. So a lot of people, there wasn't, within regards to financial opportunities, there wasn't so much there. It was very, very tough times. So he would, there was hunger inside that specific area. So there was difficulty for everyone that was living in that place. Now, he was about 14 years of age. He would go to learn in the city of Marrakesh. This was in yeshiva of a great rabbi, Rabbi David Shlush. And over there, he would learn with other great rabbis, including Rabbi Yaakov Dahan, also Rabbi Avram Abitbol, another great rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. And he would become, I think, at some point in time, a head of the yeshiva. He was known to have that brilliance of humility in of itself. And very much at that point in time, he was very, very famous, just like growing as a great, great Talmud in of itself. And I'll say what it says over here in the Hebrew, just it's encapsulated at a much better rate. It says, but Anov Arab נאלץ אביו למכור פרידתו כדי שיוכל לשלוחו לישיבה. אמו הייתה שלוחת בידו מאפים מיובשים שאפתה. מהם הן זה עצמו, והיה לן בעזרת הנשים. So it was just describing the life at that point in time, just in general. Now, it's actually interesting. He would grow up in Torah, and חכם כליפה אלמליח גדל בתורה, רכש את כל מקצועותיו הקדוש. I think it was come out the 1867. At that point in time, it was in his early 20s. He would actually finish grandiose amount of limudim. He would return to the Yishuv, the settlement of Avlad Mensur, and he would over there work within regards to various different important, let's say, holy roles in of itself, along with another great rabbi, Rabbi Moshe Vakinin, at that point in time, who was, I believe, the rabbi of that specific Yishuv. And it was the amount of Torah that was being learned, and there would be many, many different great Talmudim that he would actually be able to educate and teach. Now, I think after Rabbi Moshe Vakinin passed away, he would actually then become the rabbi of the Yishuv. Rabbi Kalifa Elmaliach would, at that point in time. And he would be working, I think, in Alad, in this area of Avlad Mensur, and for either he was up to 83 years of age or for 83 years. And he would be working in all different kinds of the Torah role over there within regards to the Jewish life cycle of important jobs in of itself. He would able to do a huge amount of kiruv. He had many, many students and was able to really, really educate at a great amount in of itself. He had great Talmudim, including Rav David Swissa, Rabbi Yaakov Abu Kassis, and Rabbi Yaakov Elmaliach. They were really, really great people at that point in time. Now, there was a woman, I think, someone named Sarah Abu Kassis, that she would actually go to the Ezrat Nashim and listen to over all his classes, it was reported over, and was just amazed by it. And I think at that point in time, not many women in that vicinity in Morocco could write, could read in a fluent level. And because of the amount that she was learning from him, she was able to, I think, teach others. And he encouraged her, I think, if I'm not mistaken, to teach others. I'll say what it says. בין תלמידת הרבים זכתה גם שרה אבו קאסיס. מבנות הכפר, דרכה היא להיכנס לעזרת נשים, להאזין ללמוד. וכן אט-אט הייתה נכנסת ויושבה בצדי בית כנסת. חכם כליפה אלמליח נזף בה, שדרכו ללמוד בנים ולא בנות. רק שראה את ההתמדה פעם אחר פעם, שנכנסה לבית כנסת, הסכים לבסוף ללמדה, וכמו שאר התלמידים, ידע גם היא לשנן את פסוקי התנ"ך ללא טעות, עם טעמי המקרא, וזכתה להיות האישה היחידה בכפר שידעה קרוא וכתוב. So she was able to become like the only, let's say, person, one of the only ones in the village to be fluent within regards to Torah, to read, to write at a very proficient level. Now it's actually interesting. He was known for the great miracles he was able to perform, the great rabbi was. And he was well known all over Morocco, all over different vicinities, not just the Jewish people, the Muslims also were absolutely in awe of him. They would ask him for brachot, for blessings over there. He would write kamiyot and mezuzot, and also for the healing of like this people that might be sick also. There's reported that he was married on 3 occasions. It was his second wife was Marat Rachel, and I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, his third wife. It was when she had passed away. I think that really, really hurt him badly. This was back in the year 1944, and I think he would partially lose his eyesight at that point in time. Now, various different miracles actually occurred to him. That has been widely reported over. I think he was one time on a roof reciting Tikkun Chatzot. It was reported over. I'll say what it says here in Hebrew, and then miracle that actually recounted over for him. Okay, כשהיה בן קרוב ל100, גם בחצות הלילה, ועלה לגג הבית, לומד תיקון חצות, מסיבה שאינו ברורה מאוד, ונפל מהגג לחציה. חכם כליפה אלמליח, שכב לא תגובה 3 ימים, עד שחשבוהו למת. כשאבו אנשי החברה קדישה, ותמו לראותו, פותח את עיניו ומספר להם גילוי אליהו הנביא. שתיחו עוד 10 שנות חיים, וכך אכן היה. He felt like he was doing prayers. For some reason, he was doing it on a higher place. He fell down, and they thought he was dead at the point in time. There was no way of surviving. And he told them over that Elijah the prophet promised him 10 more years to live, and so he lived 10 more years. The miracle that actually happened to him, well documented in of itself. Now, I think it was, come up 1950, he would move to Casablanca, and then he would be in the house of his son, Chacham Masud Elmaliach. And over there, I think it was on the 16th of Tishrei, in the year 1954, he passed away. Now, much of his great Torah teachings in Chidushim, I think a little bit got lost. Some of it was with his son, Rabbi Elmaliach, and some of it was lost. I think it was brought over. Avram Elmaliach brought it, but I think there was a massive flood which actually ended up, damaging it. And some of it did get lost, some of the teachings of itself. But I think his grandson, Rabbi Avram Asulin, will end up printing and perpetuating over many of his teachings. We're going to speak a bit more about him in a minute. Let's explore a few of the teachings from his book. One of the teachings he says is, "Melamed les'et alidehem et avihen hazaken velo lisuto be'agalot." Okay, so what's this over here? This actually comes, I think, from one of his Torah teachings. I think that's something we've got to point out. Now, there's another Torah teaching of his, I think, which was in manuscript form. It says, "Melamed shezochim litkadesh b'shmotav aramuzim b'teivat emet v'yatziv." This is another of his teachings over here from one of his manuscript forms. So he was a great rabbi of his time. 16th of Tishrei is his Hilul. He was born in the year 1844. There's differing opinions. Either he was passed away in 1954 or in 1953. I think it was on 25th of September. So it was, so if it was 1953, he was about 109 years of age at the time he passed away. He was close to 110 years of age. He was one of the great rabbis of his time. He was known for many, many miracles that he was able to perform. And he was basically the rabbi of Baoulad Mensur for many, many years. He was a rabbi. He was also a Diane, a judge, and the author of great Torah books. Now, his rabbi was a rabbi of the name Rav David Shlush. He had great Talmudim, including Rabbi David Swisser, Rabbi Elmaliach, and Rabbi Yaakov Abukassis. Really, really great rabbis at that point in time. So remember, Casablanca and South Morocco was a Torah center place, definitely within regards to Morocco in of itself. There was much going on over there, and you can hear about the great yeshiva. There was especially the famous yeshiva he would learn when he was young of Rav David Shlush. Maybe we'll speak about him in a minute. He came from the famous Shlush rabbinic dynasty, which is worth pointing out within regards to him. So we'll speak about him in a minute. So I think his, as we said before, he was married 3 times. His second wife was called Rachel, and I think that his third wife was Monia, I believe, or Moni. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. And that's when it was reported over he lost, I don't know if it was partial of his eyesight or not. Now, among his children include his son, Rabbi Elmaliach. He happened to move to Eretz Israel with much of his teachings. Another one of his sons was Rabbi Masood, who would live in Casablanca, become a rabbi over there. And I think he would live with him at the end of his life. Another one was Rabbi Meir, where of his children would have many of the manuscripts. He'd have a daughter, Sarah, that would get married to Rabbi Shimon Abu Kassis, who would become a great rabbi, darshan in of itself, I think in Ofakim, if I'm not mistaken. And one of his grandchildren, as we said before, was Rabbi Abraham Asurin, the author of the Torah, Imcha, Olad Mensur, V'chachmecha. Very, very great book in of itself. Now, let's explore who was his rabbis. We mentioned about before that he had many great rabbis at that point in time and did a lot of work with regards to writing the Zot, Kamiyot, and so on and so forth. He was very, very famous in his point in time. He would write teachings on the Parashat Shavua, on Halacha, and various different importances. I think one of his Talmidim was a great rabbi, Rabbi David Swisser, another rabbi you spoke about on various occasions before, Rabbi Yaakov Abu Kassis also. And so obviously there was famous Sarah Abu Kassis that would actually write all of, listen and really learn from them. Now, various of his teachings, as I said before, did get lost. It was with Rabbi Elmaliach in Tiberias, but I think it would get lost at one stage in time. Now, he would have various different books. Also, that would have got wet, I think, at the time of the flood through Rabbi Abraham, his son, and would have got lost. But as we stated before, Rabbi Abraham Asulin will actually perpetuate many of the teachings over afterwards. Now, he learned in yeshiva of Rab David Shlush in Marrakesh. Rab David Shlush lived between the years 1803 to 1892. Yud Gimel Kislev was his Hilula. He was Rosh Yeshiva of the Yeshiva Gedolah and was rabbi of the entire Kehila in Marrakesh for a significant period of time. He was a big rabbi in South Morocco. I think we actually recorded a video about him. I think we've got to go back. It was a few months back. We were privileged enough to record a video with regards to Rav David Shlush. So he was a great rabbi in Marrakesh, and he would have many Talmidim, including Rav Elmaliach, and he was known as Hamelech David. That was one of his nicknames. If they would consider a bit more with regards to his Rabbi David Shlush, I think he would grow up. He was born in Risni, and he would also be part of Tefilat, also over there. And he was actually, I think, the son of Rabbi Yechia ben Shlush, another great rabbi over there in Marrakesh. And we can see that there was many great rabbis at that point in time. It's about Rabbi Yosef Naim there was connection to, and there was many great students in his yeshiva in itself. There was many Talmidim. There was that was absolutely great, and many people come to him and request for brachot. So more can be said with regards to that we actually have to point out. And remember, Rav David Shlush was actually from the famous rabbinic dynasty of the Shlush family, which we've spoken about on various occasions before. We've spoken about Rav Avram Shlush, who become the great rabbi of Netanya. So you can see really the great heritage that would be, let's just say, just be perpetuated from these great rabbis of that stage in time. You can see the caliber there was. The more can be said within regards to him. It says over here, they say more with regards to the brilliance of great rabbi. I'll encapsulate it, saying it in Hebrew over here. It says over here with regards to Talmidim Misparim Shezacha Ligilui Eliyahu Hanavi, I would assume. So that was obviously Rabbi Elmaliach, who we said before. Omoftim Rabim Mesuprim Edutav Kamoken Noda B'Charivoto Halamdanit Mispa Alav Kasher Ba Shadat Ashkenazi Bakshelo Kushia Khalifa B'Gemara Teretz Ota B'Chetzi Sh'a. Rav David Lo Kibel Maskoret Mesudrot. He didn't really take, let's just say, salaries in of itself over there. B'Makom Zot Talmidim Ayu Manichim Lo Madbot Kesef. They'd have to give him private and secret money, so that maybe just maybe to help with the assistance. So he was 90 years of age, Rav David Shlush, the rabbi of Rabbi Elmaliach, when he actually himself had passed away, the great rabbi he passed away in Yud Gimel Kislev. And I think there's a big Knesset in Rav David Shlush's memory in Tunis, if I'm not mistaken, Zochor LeDavid, if I'm not mistaken. His grandson will become Rabbi Yitzchak Shlush, will become a great rabbi, write over various different teachings and writings also, and the author of the Emet LeDavid book in of itself. And Rav Shlush himself would have many great rabbis. I think all of his sons will become, many of his descendants become great rabbis, include Rabbi Yosef Shlush, who become the head of Jewish court, the Heda Amaravit in Jerusalem, I believe. So that was very, very interesting. You'd have other great descendants, including Rabbi Avram Shlush, who become the rabbi of Kfar Saba also. And that's very, very interesting. And if I'm not mistaken, his daughter, his granddaughter, Rabbanit Abigail, will get married to Rabbi Nissim David Azaran, another great rabbi. And his daughter will be Rabbanit Savia Eliyahu, who was the wife of Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu. Very interesting enough. So Rav David Shlush, obviously, including among his Talmudim, also once again the same chevra, the same crowd of rabbis, including Rabbi David Swissa, as I mentioned before, Rabbi Yaakov Nachmani, another great rabbi we mentioned on various occasions before, the author of them at Dvash and the Beit Yaakov and Lekach Yaakov and the Tov Ta'am and the Ma'im Ganim. Also Rabbi Moshe Abulmad, another rabbi we spoke about way earlier on, about 3 years ago, who will become a great rabbi and the author of the Vayomeh Moshe. But Mordechai Esbaoni was head of Jewish court in Marrakesh and the author of the Parshat Mordechai and Vishuat Yaakov. Rabbi David Cohen also, who was Ba'al Maskil David, various different great Talmudim books at that point in time. Obviously, we mentioned about Rabbi Kalifa Elmaliach, who we're speaking about before, who was rabbi of Baoulad Menzor, respectively. He had another famous Talmud, Rabbi Yitzchak Peretz, who was a rabbi of Yeshivat Salach Al-Zama in Marrakesh, and Rabbi Moshe Vakinin, who was a rabbi, I believe, or very much connected to Rabbi Kalifa Elmaliach. He was, in his brilliance, he was a rabbi, I believe, of Baoulad Menzor, also. So very, very interesting. So, friends, also we're a community here. We're learning about famous rabbis of yesteryear. If you descend from any of the great rabbis, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information. If anyone is interested in watching any of these videos, friends, please share these videos to other people also, and subscribe, join the community, and enjoy. So wishing you a Chag Sameach, Moadim L'Simcha, and thanks for watching. Thank you very much.